for many years, you didn't have any robust oversight of the police. And also, on the other side of it, police work is very difficult. And it's dangerous work. You know, a soldier knows he's going into war, but a policeman is there driving on the road. He might be there just delivering a summons or writing up. He doesn't know what he's going to have to face a life-threatening battle right then and there.
Welcome to the show. Glad you made it. Let the good vibes go. Take a breath. Let the stress all go. You're right on time. Welcome to the show. Every story, every step will grow. Stick around. Let your true self go. It's Meek at heart. Welcome to the show. Yeah.
Hey, soft hearts and searching soul. Welcome back to Meek at Heart. I'm Tamika, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're a natural OG, nice to see you again. Usually before each interview, I share a random thought. So I've been thinking about this concept of putting yourself first. Everybody talks about it. I have to put myself first. I have to think about myself. But if we're all thinking about ourselves only, if we're all putting each other first, then who looks out for someone else? So think about that first before you begin to say, I have to put me first. Think about others. The Bible even speaks of it that we should be each other's keeper. So be your brother's keeper. And of course, look about yourself, but also remember to be your neighbor's keeper. So let me know what you think in the comments down below.
Oh, it's Meek at heart. Welcome to the show.
In a world where power often goes unchecked, who stands up for the people? Is it possible to hold the most powerful institutions in land accountable without losing integrity? Today on Meek at Heart, we're profiling a man who didn't just ask those questions, he built the answers. Terrence Williams, KC, is a titan of Caribbean jurisprudence, recognized for his expertise in constitutional law, criminal defense, and administrative law. In October 2024, he was elevated to the rank of King's Counsel, an honor described by legal leaders as extremely well-deserved and long overdue. As Jamaica's first Commissioner of INDECOM, he fundamentally shifted the landscape of police accountability, reducing police fatalities and insisting that the law applies equally to those who enforce it. For 10 years, he stood the front lines, ensuring that justice wasn't just a word for the wealthy, but a right of every citizen. He has served as the British Virgin Islands' first Director of Public Prosecution, where he notably won conviction against senior government officials for fraud and corruption. So he is a seasoned London advocate, having successfully argued numerous landmark cases before the United Kingdom Privy Council. But what drives a man to take on the Goliath of the system? Today, we look at his legacy, the landmark cases, and the unwavering philosophy of Terrence Williams, KC.
To it.
Welcome, Mr. Williams.
Thank you very much, Tamika.
So happy to have you here.
Happy to be here.
Yes. We'll just get right into it. First of all, congratulations on your King's Counsel recent achievement. He's like, you're saying, oh yes, that's...
I mean, that's what he said. Okay, well, yeah, thank you.
All right, so you defended both police officers and the citizens that they serve. How do you respond to those who say you can't be a human rights champion while also defending public officials?
Well, the legal profession, particularly persons who practice the public law, which public law would be constitutional law, criminal law, are the you may say the first respondents when it comes to issues of justice and human rights. Now, whether you are prosecutor or defender, you have a role to play in defending human rights. And the prosecutor must be a minister of justice. The defense counsel must, his concern must be the individual client, and it is the approach and attention by the defense counsel which ensures that that person's rights are upheld, and also, because cases make precedent which affect other cases. So, and also ensure that we foster a system of justice in Jamaica. So, yeah, I don't see any at all any paradox.
All right, so there's this thing whenever I speak to a police officer during your time at INDECOM, they were usually very mad at you. They would say that, he's not looking into us as police officers, he's just looking at it one way. How do you feel about a statement like that?
Well, it's of course an incorrect statement. I understand where it came from. It came from the fact that for many years, you didn't have any robust oversight of the police. And also, on the other side of it, police work is very difficult. And it's dangerous work. A soldier knows he's going into war, but a policeman is there driving on the road. He might be there just delivering a summons or writing up. He doesn't know what he's going to have to face a life-threatening battle right then and there. So it's difficult work. And we always took that into account at INDECOM when we were making recommendations. But the fact that police work is difficult doesn't mean that there must be deliberate infringements of the rights of the citizens. It doesn't mean that there must be deliberate assaults, deliberate killings. The police must act in accordance with the law. And also those who are in charge of the officers. Because when I look at these officers, many of them could be my son or even my grandson, and they didn't join the police force to commit crime and to abuse people. They joined the police force to serve their country, of course to have a job and to move up in society, to fund their education, and to advance like how everyone wants to advance. So leaders in the police force must also not abuse their command of the officer by having the officer get involved in unlawful, unconstitutional activity, because it robs them of their innocence. It destroys their character, and it doesn't inure to a police force which Jamaicans can truly respect.
Is that something that you saw happen a lot during your time as the head of INDECOM?
Well, you do see cases where officers were involved in incidents, and you wondered about supervision. You did see planned operations which ended in fatalities, which could have been planned better, so as not to endanger the officer.
Right.
I'll give you an example. There was this is going back some 10 years ago. We were looking at a particular tactic which in policing is called dynamic entry, where the police officer knows that or suspects that someone is in the house who they want to arrest or question or whatever, and they will come through the door, sometimes without warning, and enter the house, and the normal version we get from the police is that the man raised up a gun at them and they killed the man. But in those situations, you ask yourself, it's a very dangerous thing to ask a police officer to break through the door and come in like that, because you put him at great risk. And if it's a contained environment, a house, for example, it could certainly be surrounded where the man could not get out, and the man could certainly
Protect himself.
yes, could come out peaceably, or at least in a way which doesn't disadvantage the officer and doesn't endanger the officer.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that officer would be undercover, where if the man was going to make a shoot out of it, and they could, use tear gas, whatever, get the man out. But this breaking out door and coming in, because if you think of it, if you're in your home and somebody breaks out the door and coming in, you know there is police or thief.
No.
Yeah, so it was a dangerous tactic, and we had a discussion, some reports on it, a discussion, evaluation, and we were happy to see that planned operation fatalities decreased tremendously during that period after we did that work on planned operations and dynamic entry.
So what you did is basically you forced the police to come up with creative ways of doing their job. So it wasn't a one size fits all approach.
Yeah, it's not so creative, because it's an international standard, and the dynamic entry had long been criticized in policing generally, long ago. So yeah, it's not so creative. It's just a matter that I know how it is. In Jamaica, we have had high murder rates for many years, and we always feel as if we're always hovering in high numbers. I remember when I was a young man, 1980, I was a teenager. It was 800 and something that year for the election. You probably don't remember that. You probably don't report it. Right? It was 800 and something for that election, the 1980 election, and we all felt, oh my goodness, let that not happen again.
It was 980 people
800 people
that died.
That year. Yeah, man. During the election campaign period.
Oh.
It was a long campaign. It was, again, 1980, I was 14, so going way back to try to remember how long the campaign was, but it was 800.
And that was a big number.
Yes, the election was in October. So I think it was January to October. And that was a big number. But we've seen then that if we got 800 a year,
We'd be very happy right now.
So I know that Jamaica has and continues to have a significant crime problem. We're not happy about that. Nobody will be happy about that. I'm happy that they decreased it last year. And the police work and so on, and whatever else, police work, statutory changes, I don't know what else contributed to it. But of course, we also saw a tremendous increase in police fatal shootings, which matches the year of the Dudus matter,
Right.
which I think that was 2011.
It's a lot.
2010, I believe was Dudus. 2010, yes. Yeah, 2010.
Whoa,
70 died in Tivoli Gardens, but 200 and something died otherwise.
Wow.
And that was so that was a 300 year. So I think this is the first 300 year we have had since then.
Wow.
Now, the Inter-American Court of Human Rights made a very profound statement in Michael Gale, and in Michael Gale against Jamaica, and they said they are aware of high crime rates in Jamaica. They are also aware that Jamaica has a very high rate of police-involved killings. And Jamaica must therefore, more than anywhere else in the world, ensure that there is a sufficient framework for accountability in the use of force, which is why you had INDECOM. But it is not INDECOM alone that can do it, because INDECOM cannot be at every scene to witness what happened. And modern policing, for many years, has required police to wear body-worn cameras, some call it badge cameras, And it is for me disappointing that in Jamaica we don't have our police when they go out on operations, which are planned operations, wearing body-worn cameras. In the first instance, that should be the first thing.
Right.
And we should move towards every officer who is issued a firearm wearing a body-worn camera. So we should move towards, it's long, long overdue.
All right.
And the JDF, if the JDF is going to go out on operations with the police, they should also be wearing body-worn cameras.
So that would be the government that would need to implement that.
Well, indeed, because the Commissioner of Police must answer to the minister, and there would need to be budgetary funding, and there would need to be rules. The minister has the power to make rules for the police force. So yeah, that would need to be done.
Is this something you had lobbied for?
Oh, for many years we spoke about it, and I can recall. This must be going back when Minister Bunting was the Minister of National Security. So that's going back. That must be 10 years ago, 8 years ago. I can recall that there was a release that body-worn cameras were on their way. And I know that there are some body-worn cameras being issued now, but they are mostly being issued to officers in the, I think that unit is called P-Step, who do traffic and enforcement.
Yes.
And I can understand what they're doing there. I know a lot of Jamaicans say that police officers seek bribes when they're issuing. A lot of people say that. I don't know how true it is, but the wearing of the cameras will make the officer accountable. It will also see if persons are offering them bribes, and they can prove it. And as I see there, the man was offering it. Say,
I never ask you for no money.
Right, indeed. And if the man said, "Officer, I can do a thing for you, and you catch on the camera." So yeah, I can see why it's being deployed to P-Step. But if I were to humbly order the priorities, accountability for fatal shootings is a priority over, as the Jamaicans say, left or right.
A lot of police would argue that sometimes you have to just do a thing, because in terms of a person is killing people and you know that this person just needs to get a high power attorney and they'd be free on the road, so why not just take them out? How do you feel about a statement like that?
That will just be murder, and murder is never never permissible. There's my son in the police force. You're not going to send my son to murder anybody. If you're a superintendent and you think you want to murder people, murder them yourself. Don't send my son. And this thing about, high-powered lawyer, present a good case. And indeed, wearing a body-worn camera will help you to present a good case. Sometimes you hear a version. I was seeing this American channel that does body-worn camera footage. And in this particular footage, it was a woman who attacked a police officer who had come to do a wellness check on her. Now, I suspect that if you told somebody, I went to do a wellness check and she attacked me with a knife and I killed her,
they would not
they will say, you're so lying. The woman say you're there in the uniform and you have your weapon, and she, the little woman, attacked you with the knife. Come on, you're lying. But he had the body-worn camera, he was able to prove it.
Wow.
So
it does can do a lot of good.
Yes, indeed. It is just a no-brainer.
So you've been the Watchman for 10 years, and you've left INDECOM. How do you feel about the current culture? Do you feel like it's continuing to thrive in terms of accountability, or there's need for more work?
Difficult for me to say, because I'll tell you, since I left INDECOM, I practice here in Jamaica, but I also practice a lot throughout the Caribbean. So I am here probably 50% or less than 50% of the time. and I know a lot of persons speak about things which they don't know well enough, so I don't want to comment. The only thing I can say is I saw the numbers, and 300 is a very high number, and there's need for, and I've seen that the body-worn cameras have not been deployed to in planned operations. In fact, I think I read that INDECOM said that in none of the shootings they were investigating, body-worn cameras, none of them were body-worn cameras issued to the officers. So 300 odd shootings, and none of them.
Yes, that's a lot.
Yeah. So
that's a lot.
Yeah, but I leave it to those who have the command now at INDECOM to continue to monitor it and evaluate it. I would ask Commissioner, as a Jamaican, would ask Commissioner of Police, Minister, to bring in the body-worn camera. Bring in the body-worn camera. You'll be surprised even how even just regular cases where a police officer says, I find a man with a gun. And the man says, lie, police tell me. If he had a camera, we didn't find the gun. All cases in court would finish, but people would plead guilty because what are they going to plead not guilty?
Yes.
Well, some will, of course, but the court really doesn't say, come on, So,
We have the gun video.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is something, as a Jamaican, something that I'm hoping will happen.
So your appointment to the King's Counsel was celebrated as long overdue by the president of CCJ. Now that you've reached the inner bar, do you feel like your role as voice for the marginalized has changed, or has the platform just gotten bigger?
When I left INDECOM, I was determined, when I returned to full legal practice, that I wanted to do, or to have a portion of my practice for persons who couldn't afford a legal practitioner. And so, in certain areas. So we formed our chambers are public law chambers. There, I think we now have 4 lawyers in chambers. And we take on certain issues, and we say, all right, let's work on this. So, for example, we are doing a lot of work on persons who are waiting a long time for their appeals to be heard. Some persons will almost serve their sentence before their appeal is heard.
Like Terrence Williams.
Oh, well, John, is a different situation. We also take on that too. That's the issue of mentally ill persons who are kept at what is called the court's pleasure and kept there for years. So we have also taken on that. So that is part of the public interest litigation that we do. So it's an important part of the work. It's not the only part, because we do other things, and everybody's an independent person in chambers, but we try to come together and take on some of these things which otherwise there may not be anyone to take them on, because legal aid doesn't now stretch to cover, or doesn't easily stretch to cover persons who have constitutional matters against the state. So lawyers who can need to take them on, and I always tell people, that if you're looking at the current Caribbean jurisprudence in constitutional matters, it is 75% Trinidadian cases.
Wow.
Yeah, it might even be 80% Trinidadian cases. For Jamaica, they will tell you about Hines, and Hines is 1970 something, right? So, but most of the modern cases are constitutional law, Trinidadian cases. So we see where it's not that Trinidadians' rights are being abused by their government more than, or their public authorities. Right. The Trinidadian bar have taken on these matters, and similarly, so I think in Jamaica we need to see attorneys and persons who are abused by the state, feeling empowered to take on these issues and try to right the wrong.
But when you just referenced Hines, explain that to me.
Oh, Hines is one of the, in Caribbean jurisprudence, Hines is a seminal case because Hines dealt with our constitutional structure, separation of powers between the judiciary and the executive branch. Hines came out of the formation of the gun court. Again, you might be too young to remember, but when gun crimes went up in the early 70s, the gun court act was promulgated. In fact, on South Camp Road, there was a special detention center built for persons charged with gun crimes. It was painted red. I remember the minister saying, "It red because it dread." Right? So that is oh boy. I think it's 74, 75.
1970? Okay.
Yes, I was
you were small.
I was at St. Richard's Primary at that time. But the case takes on issue because the law provided for indefinite detention, a panel of judges which did not include judges. And so all those things were taken on in the Gun Court Act and are essentially struck down by the Privy Council. It was, so it's an important case because it explained how Caribbean constitutions worked. I remember this would have been 8 years or so after, no, more than 8, 10 years or so after our independence constitution. So so Hines is an important case, but the point I'm making is that Hines is 1970.
Right. And
nowadays, if you look at the important constitutional cases, they're not Jamaican.
Well,
they're Trinidad. It's an area law I practice, and when I, put together a case, it's mostly Trinidadian cases that we are relying on for some, because that is how they do a lot more litigation. Constitutional assembly.
What's the name of your firm?
Our chambers is the public law chambers.
Public law. Oh, okay. Yes, I did see that in my research.
It's not a firm because every lawyer is an independent practitioner. So we come together and do cases, but each of us
have your own practice.
Yes. It is similar to the way that barristers practice in England, where you share expenses in an office,
I see.
but each person is their own
boss,
own independent contractor and boss. Yeah,
I like that. Good idea to man that.
And what we do, and so you take on some younger practitioners who will learn. They do cases with the senior. When they have their own cases, they come to you for advice, and they make their own way. And I started off at the DPP's office, but I also moved on to the chambers of Frank Phipps, King's Counsel, which operated like that too. And so Frank Phipps was a great mentor to me, as was Ian Ramsey, King's Counsel, who also operated at chambers like that.
Okay. You, at your KC ceremony, your King's Counsel ceremony, you singled out your mother, and she's an educator as your hero. What would you say are some of the lessons that you would have learned from the classroom that you've applied into the court?
For the classroom generally? Okay. I went to St. George's College, and it's a Jesuit high school.
Yeah.
And I know nowadays there are not so many Jesuits because many people are not taking up the call to become priests. But in my day, they have a lot of Jesuits, and they were quite intelligent, because I think in those days you had to have a master's degree to become a Jesuit priest. It wasn't just seminary; you had to have a top education, and their key thing was service, intellectuality, and service. And so from high school, I had that, that it's not how much money you earn, but service and impact. And you know, my father was a man in politics and trade unions.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and so we you know, but the thing is, the reason why I made particular mention of my mother, you know, a lot of people in public life knew my father, and I tried to minimize his role, but I wanted for persons to also know the appreciation that we all have for our mother, because she was a Renaissance lady, a lady of great intelligence, and she could do many things well, and instilled many great virtues in us. You know, I remember there was a case with a doctor who failed to give medical attention to a lady because she couldn't pay, and she died. It happened some years ago, and she was watching the news story with us. In those days, families watched TV, the JBC news together, right? It was TVJ, it was JBC.
Yes.
And she turned to us and said, you know, I hope you'll all get professions. And I'd be sad any day that any of you refuse to help someone because they can't afford it. And that was, you know, that ingrained in us from very young. So yeah, I had to give her the plaudits.
From then, did you know you wanted to be a lawyer?
Sure. Yes, perhaps that would have been, at that time, yes. But of course, you're a young boy, you want to do many. There was a time I even wanted to be a priest. You think about it, but luckily that didn't happen. Luckily for the priesthood, that didn't happen. But yeah, because my father, let's say, was a trade unionist.
Right.
My elder brother is also a lawyer. Although many people don't recognize he's my elder brother because he's small. He was smaller than me in body, but yeah. So
In Jamaica?
But my elder brother is the High Commissioner to London.
Wow.
Many people don't know that. That is the former Senator, Alexander Williams. That's my brother, my big brother. My big brother, yeah. Right. So the law was something that from when I was a teenager, I wanted to know.
Why don't you think? I think you'd make an excellent priest. Why you don't think you'd make an excellent?
I don't think so.
As a mentor to young lawyers at public law chambers, what is the one thing you want them to value more than winning? Because you mentioned that you mentor some of them, but what's the one thing that you want them to value more than winning?
Well, you know, the law is a learned profession. And I think, and every day I am surprised by something new I learn. And every young lawyer should face the profession as one for continuous learning. I always trying to improve yourself. Submissions you make, cross-examine, you know, anything you do. So I say recognize it's a learned profession, and always try to improve yourself. And when you are doing a job of representation, remember that, because my work is mostly courtroom, right? But remember that court work is like an iceberg, in that you only see the very top 1/3, but most of it is preparation. Preparation. So if you're cross-examining, you work out in your head, I'm going to ask this question, that question, they're going to answer that. And if they answer that, I'm going to say this. And you rehearse it in your head. Some people write it down, but you know, but you must give it thought. Going to go to the Court of Appeal, you must know, what is the court going to ask me? This case that I'm relying on, are they going to, you know, what are they going to distinguish it? So, you know, there's a lot of cerebral work to the practice of law. We must never forget that as lawyers.
So, Mr. Williams, we've done a lot of heavy lifting today. And usually on the channel, we love to play games. And I usually create these games just for you. So we've done a lot of heavy lifting. I ask you some very tough questions. I think they were tough, not so tough. But I want us to do a little Meek at heart legal way in.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you 3 options. From the options I've given you, you will tell me which one you prefer. So it might be a nightmare, and you have to tell me which one is the nightmare that you think you can recover from, or it may be something great and you just pick the best one. So are you ready for the Meek at heart legal way in, sir?
Sure. Let me.
All right. So, which one of these would you prefer?
Okay.
Accidentally, or not prefer, but the one that would cause you less damage, I guess. But I'll tell you name and you decide. Accidentally calling your waiter your honor, or my learned friend when you're off the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Or completely blanking out on a client's name or a legal term for a split second while you're in the middle of a sentence at a high stakes sentence. Or having your phone, Ray, you can't be laughing, or having your phone go off with a Vibes Cartel ringtone during a drop silent moment in the courtroom.
All right. Well, I don't even know how to put on different ringtones on the phone. So that is very unlikely to happen. And as regards Mr. Cartel, I don't know many of his songs, so I don't know. That is so unlikely. The second one is I guess the most likely. So the question is, which of the 3 I
Would prefer.
or,
Yes.
or least dislike?
Yes.
All right. The first one.
So you're just going there, Your Honor, let me have a steak.
Yeah, the first one, yes, indeed. The one with the least embarrassment.
Okay. All right. You have to pick your courtroom confidence outfit. The first one, an expensive, high-quality robe that feels like an armor and is incredibly itchy, or a perfectly tailored suit, but the shoes are a little too tight. Or your lucky tie, which is a pocket square that is completely out of style, but you always win a case when you wear it.
Well, I'm not superstitious at all. So that thing about lucky things, I don't. I do believe in. I guess the only superstition that I have is having cleaning my shoes properly the night before court and making sure you have a nice shiny pair of shoes. That's right. But I don't think that's superstition. I think just
just your preference, right?
Yeah. So what was the first 2 again?
High quality robe that feels like an armor and it's very itchy.
Well, unlikely. But yeah, you essentially have wardrobe.
So that's not likely.
Not likely. And the second one was?
A tailored suit, but your shoes too tight. So it's clean, but it tight.
No, well, that get very unlikely to happen. But I do believe that as an attorney, you should try to look as sharp as possible. What is the great problem that's happening now is that you have your clothes hung up, and then when you try them on, you realize that the waist must have shrunk over time, and so one has to go back to your tailor or go back to the store. But I do believe, as a attorney, once you try to look sharp.
So it's a suit.
Yeah, but also, attorneys must recognize that we have a limited color palette. It's black and gray and navy blue.
Right, I noticed that.
If you're going to the magistrate, the parish court, you probably can go, the gray is dark gray, charcoal gray. You probably go a lighter gray, then charcoal, and a lighter blue, then navy blue. But those are the colors, you know. So, that we have to stick within that palette.
So you're going with the suit?
Yes.
This is aside, but I've seen a lot of lawyers and they're walking around in their robes, just randomly on the road.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, okay. I just wondered, it's a little extra.
The problem is, a proper courthouse out of a robing room. So you ought to put on your gown in the robing room. But many courthouses, well, not even in Jamaica, sure, the Caribbean, don't have a robing room. But certainly, you should not be gowned. Because indeed, what ought to happen is that even the tabs, you should not really, or not to be walking on the road with it either.
Yes.
But that people accept that now, because if you have your chambers and you're going to court, there's no good robing room for you to take off your tie, put on your tabs. See, but there's no need for you to be wearing your gown walking down the street.
I've seen it. A guy walked into the restaurant in his.
The gown?
Yes, sir.
No.
I think he would definitely choose number one.
That's not bad.
I call it your role. And the final one for you. You're in the car on the way to a massive career-defining trial. You need to get your head in the game. Which one are you choosing? Absolute silence, total focus, not a single sound, or high energy reggae or dancehall to get your adrenaline pumping like that, Katya? Or something completely random, like a podcast about deep sea fishing, just to get your mind off the case. What are we doing? What are we doing?
It would be music, but it would, I'm sorry again, I am not the Vance Carter generation.
It could be idol, yeah.
I don't either. My musical taste is very,
What do you like?
it would be like classic rock, like Bob Dylan or Paul Simon or Van Morrison or Heptones or Mighty Diamonds with Red Isaacs. It would be that.
Yeah.
Remember
Yes.
that was spring chicken. So yes, that would be what would get me in a good vibe.
Yes. Well, Mr. Williams, I thank you for making the time just to come on the channel and speaking with me. And I believe that a lot of people will garner a great deal of information, and for the young lawyers, that they would gain some insight based on your career. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe so that you'll be the first to know when we post new content. And always remember, you can be the light that fights against the shadows.